When you watch an action movie, it's easy to get caught up in the explosions, the stunts, and the jaw-dropping spectacle. But behind the camera, not everything is smoke and mirrors. Some actors pushed their bodies to the breaking point, others didn't walk away at all. From horrifying near deaths to real-life tragedy on set, these aren't scenes, they're survival stories. Welcome to Hollywood's Deadliest Moments. In The Mummy, Brendan Fraser portrayed a fearless adventurer who mocks danger at every turn, but behind the scenes, things got much more serious. During one notable moment, Fraser's character faces execution by hanging. To make the scene look as convincing as possible, Fraser stood with the noose around his neck, balancing on his tiptoes while a crew member kept the rope taut from off camera. But the crew member pulled too forcefully. Fraser was abruptly lifted off the ground and left hanging for real. He lost consciousness due to lack of air and had to be revived by the crew. For several tense moments, no one was sure if he would survive. Although Fraser would later joke about what happened, it was a terrifying experience that nearly cost him both his life and his career, all in a single take. Jackie Chan is world-renowned for performing his own stunts, but that level of dedication has come with serious consequences. While shooting Armor of God, he attempted a stunt that appeared simple on paper, jumping from a wall onto a tree branch. But the stunt went disastrously wrong. He plummeted more than 16 feet and struck his head on a rock below. The impact was so intense that part of his skull was pushed into his brain. He was rushed into emergency surgery, and even today, he still has a plastic plug in his head where the bone had to be removed. Amazingly, it wasn't long before he returned to set, determined to finish the film. The incident stands as just one of many extreme examples where Jackie Chan has risked his life for action.
It is absolute pandemonium, more than ever. Rocky has proved himself a true champion.
Sylvester Stallone's pursuit of authenticity in the Rocky franchise nearly proved fatal. While filming Rocky IV, he wanted the boxing sequences to look as real as possible, so he asked his co-star Dolph Lundgren to punch him with full force. Lundgren didn't hold back. The punch landed with such intensity that Stallone's heart began to swell, not metaphorically, but physically. He was rushed to the hospital, where doctors admitted him to intensive care. Medical staff later confirmed that without urgent treatment, the blow might have killed him. For Stallone, getting battered in the name of cinema has never just been for show. It's a risk he's taken again and again, with real consequences. Jason Statham is widely regarded as one of the toughest stars in action cinema, but even he came terrifyingly close to tragedy during the making of The Expendables 3. While driving a truck for a stunt shot, the vehicle's brakes unexpectedly failed. With no way to stop, Statham veered off the edge of a dock and plunged into the Black Sea. The truck sank rapidly. Luckily, Statham, who is also an experienced diver, kept his cool. He managed to escape the sinking vehicle and swim back to the surface safely. If he had lost his composure, or if the conditions had been any worse, the incident could have easily turned fatal. On that day, the man best known for playing the transporter had to rely on his real-life skills to transport himself out of a deadly situation. When it comes to putting life and limb on the line for entertainment, nobody matches Jackie Chan. In the 1985 martial arts classic Police Story, Chan performs a jaw-dropping stunt, sliding down a 70-foot pole wrapped in electrical lights inside a shopping mall. As he descended, the bulbs burst around him, glass shattered in every direction, and sparks flew. But the aftermath was devastating. He sustained second-degree burns on his hands, dislocated his pelvis, and fractured 2 vertebrae in his spine. He was hospitalized for his injuries, yet in typical Jackie Chan fashion, he returned to the set within weeks, determined to finish the movie and to keep doing his own stunts. It's nothing short of a miracle he lived through it, but it's also what makes Jackie Chan more than an action star. He's a real-life daredevil who's redefined what it means to sacrifice for your craft. Chuck Norris films have always embraced danger on screen, but on Delta Force 2, the danger turned devastatingly real behind the scenes. In 1989, while filming in the Philippines, the crew was capturing an elaborate helicopter stunt designed to end in a fiery explosion. But just as the chopper lifted off with the crew aboard, something went horribly wrong. The aircraft's tail rotor reportedly clipped trees or terrain as it banked too low, sending the helicopter spiraling out of control. Seconds later, it plunged into a ravine and exploded on impact. The crash killed 4 people instantly. Several others, including actor John P. Ryan and stuntman Matthew Gomez, were injured. Chuck Norris, who was not on board, halted production immediately. The victims' families would later sue Cannon Films for negligence, citing inadequate safety precautions. Even decades later, the Delta Force 2 tragedy remains one of the most horrific on-set disasters in Hollywood history, a sobering reminder that the line between entertainment and real danger can disappear in an instant. Jean-Claude Van Damme was still rising to stardom when he took on Cyborg, a low-budget sci-fi actioner with brutal fight scenes and even rougher working conditions. But during one of those fights, things turned horrifyingly real. Stuntman Jackson Pinckney was filming a hand-to-hand sequence opposite Van Damme when a prop knife slashed his face. The blade struck with such force that it went straight into Pinckney's eye. The injury was permanent. Pinckney lost all sight in that eye. Pinckney sued Van Damme and the production company for negligence. In court, witnesses testified that Van Damme had a reputation for unsafe hits and often didn't pull his strikes. Pinckney ultimately won the case and was awarded nearly $500,000 in damages. The injury cast a long shadow over the film's release, and though Cyborg found a cult following, the lawsuit became part of its legacy.
Kill us all!
Terminator 2 wasn't just a blockbuster, it was a revolution in action filmmaking. But behind the groundbreaking effects and explosive stunts was a set filled with real physical risk, especially for star Linda Hamilton. In the famous Pescadero State Hospital escape scene, Sarah Connor fires a shotgun inside a cramped elevator. It's an intense moment on screen, and a painful one in real life. Hamilton insisted on doing her own stunts and refused to wear earplugs to stay in character. The close-range gunfire echoed inside the metal elevator, and one shot left her with permanent hearing loss in her right ear. To this day, she said the ringing never stopped. Die Hard turned Bruce Willis into an action legend, but it nearly cost him his hearing, and in one case, his life. During one of the film's most intense moments, Willis's character John McClane fires a gun from under a table. It's a gritty, iconic shot, and it caused very real damage. The blanks used for the scene were extra powerful to achieve the thunderous sound effect, but firing them at such close range in an enclosed space blew out Willis's left ear. The sound pressure was so extreme that it caused permanent partial hearing loss. Years later, Willis would reveal that the damage never fully healed. He's lived with it ever since. That wasn't the only brush with disaster. For a rooftop stunt, Willis had to leap off a building strapped to a hose and fall onto an airbag below, while explosive fireballs went off behind him. On the first take, he overshot the bag and almost missed it completely. He later admitted that it was one of the scariest stunts of his career. Of all the onset accidents in movie history, none is more infamous or more tragic than what happened on The Crow. Brandon Lee, son of martial arts icon Bruce Lee, was poised for breakout stardom in the role of Eric Draven. But on March 31st, 1993, just days before the end of filming, Brandon was fatally wounded in a scene that was never supposed to be dangerous. The setup was simple. Lee's character enters a room and is shot by thugs. What no one realized was that a dummy bullet, used for a close-up earlier in production, had left a metal fragment lodged in the barrel. When the blank was fired, it had enough force to launch that fragment into Lee's abdomen. He was rushed to the hospital but died after 6 hours of emergency surgery. Against all odds, the film was completed using a body double and early CGI and released to critical acclaim. But it could never escape the shadow of Lee's death.
Rocky Balboa. He just will not let him out of that corner, and Rocky Balboa is just trying to get.
In the end, these weren't just movie stunts gone wrong, they were life-changing moments. Some stars left with injuries that never healed, others didn't leave at all. From Jackie Chan's near-fatal plunge, to Bruce Willis losing part of his hearing, to the tragedy that took Brandon Lee's life, these stories prove that behind every action sequence, there's a very real risk. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content.